Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast Special Edition Series, where I go over each and every 2024 NCAA Men's College Basketball Conference Tournament. This is going to be the 22nd of 32, as this will be the Big East. The tournament will be held, of course, at Madison Square Garden in Manhattan, as it is each and every year. We will go over the seedings, and then we'll do the bracket. First round is Wednesday, March 13th, quarterfinals Thursday, March 14th, semifinals Friday, March 15th, and the championship will be Saturday, March 16th on Fox. So without further ado, here's the seedings. Your 1 seed, 28-3 overall, 18-2 in conference play. Your number 2 team in the country, the UConn Huskies. The 2 seed, 23-8 overall, 14-6 in conference play. The number 8 team in the country, the Creighton Blue Jays. Number 3 seed, 23-8 overall, 14-6 in conference play. Your number 10 overall team in the rankings right now, the Marquette Golden Eagles. Your 4 seed, 20-11 overall, 13-7 in conference play. The Seton Hall Pirates. 5 seed, 19-12 overall, 11-9 in conference play. The St. John's Johnnies. Your 6th seed, or I should say the St. John's Red Storm. I call them the Johnnies, but yeah, the Red Storm. Your 6th seed, 17-14 overall, 10-10 in conference play. The Villanova Wildcats. Your 7th seed, 19-12 overall, 10-10 in conference play. The Providence Friars. Your 8th seed, 18-13 overall, 9-11 in conference play. The Butler Bulldogs. Your 9th seed, 15-16 overall, 9-11 in conference play. The Xavier Musketeers. Your 10th seed, 9-22 overall, 2-18 in conference play. The Georgetown Hoyas. And the 11th seed, 3-28 overall, 0-20 in the conference play, the DePaul Blue Demons. All right, so 3 games on Wednesday, March 13th, first round. 9 seed Xavier, 8 seed Butler. Butler still has an outside shot at an at-large, but it's not really realistic. Their best player is Pierre Brooks. Xavier underachieved this year with the former Arizona coach, Sean Miller, back in the fold. Quincy Olivares, their best player, averaging almost 20 a game. My projection here is Butler by a half, so it'll win 50 3/5, so I'm going to advance Butler. And Thad Matta. Next up, 10 seed Georgetown and 7 seed Providence. Georgetown Ed Cool year 1 did not go as hoped, but this is obviously a rebuild. They have a really good player, though, in Jaden Epps at over 18 a game. And then Providence, Ed Cooley's old team, overachieved a little bit this year, I thought. Devin Carter's a really good player, over 19 a game. I project Providence 11.3 to the 145.5, so I'm going to advance Providence. And the third of 3 first-round games on Wednesday, March 13th, 11 seed DePaul, 6 seed Villanova. DePaul's awful, as we know. They have no semblance of a competent team. Nova underachieved yet again under Kyle Neptune in year 2. Eric Dixon's a good player, over 16 a game. He's their best player. I project Nova 16, total 142, and a 10, so I'm going to advance Nova. All right, quarterfinals on Thursday, March 14th. 4 games, all begins at noon at the Garden. 8 seed Butler, 1 seed UConn. UConn's a machine. They've been a machine all season. 5 guys averaging double figures a game. Tristan Newton, 15. Cam Spencer, 14-7. Alex Caravan, 14-2. So they have a lot of reliable players. I project them 13.1 over Butler, so I have them advancing. Second to 4 quarterfinal games, 5 seed St. John's, 4 seed St. Hall. St. John's, some may consider that a disappointment in year 1, and Rick Pitino, maybe people in New York. But just to have St. John's sort of relevant again because of Rick. And they're on a nice little winning streak right now. They've won 5 straight, including a big one at home or at the Garden against Creighton. Well, it's technically home. So they're hot right now. They got themselves back into the mix after winning 5 in a row. And they have 2 good players in Denise Jenkins and Joel Soriano. Seton Hall's been a big overachiever. I really think that Shaheem Holloway has done outstanding in year 2. And obviously it was better than year 1 at Seton Hall. Best player on the court probably in this game is going to be Kadari Richmond of Seton Hall. But I think the home crowd's going to be into it for St. John's. You could argue Seton Hall's the better team. But I think St. John's might be the deeper team. And I trust Rick Pitino more than Shaheen Holloway in this spot. Only based on coaching track records and such. I know Shaheen Holloway got within a game of the Final Four with St. Peter's. But Seton Hall, great year. Let's see if they make the tournament or not. But St. John's, I think the Garden's going to be rocking. I've St. John's 2.2 to 145 in 4-5. If this tournament was being held at, let's say if this tournament's being held at the Dunk where Providence plays, or at the Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, Seton Hall would be favored in this spot. But no, the game's at the Garden, St. John's favored. So I have St. John's advancing. All right, third and fourth quarterfinal game, 7 seed Providence and 2 seed Creighton. Creighton is just so good. Baylor Shearman's really good. Trey Alexander's awesome. Ryan Kalkbrenner, awesome. That's the big 3 on this team. They're a machine offensively. I have Creighton 6.1 over Providence, so I have them advancing. In the last of 4 quarterfinal games, 6 seed Villanova, 3 seed Marquette. No Tyler Kolek for Marquette, which is a big deal. So they need Cam Jones and Oso Ighodaro to step up in his absence. Because of no Kolek, I had to dock the line. I still have Marquette favored, but I have it 4.1 instead of 6.1 because of the Kolek injury. So I'm going to advance Marquette. Semifinals. 5 seed St. John's, 1 seed UConn from the Garden. I think this is going to be a loud game. This is going to be on Fox. The winner of this game, the Seton Hall St. John's game against UConn, is going to be on Fox, which is awesome. There's going to be a mixture of UConn fans and St. John's fans there. If this game was being played if say the Big East tournament was at TD Garden in Boston, UConn would be 9.8. Because it's at MSG, it's down to 6.8 because it's St. John's home court. So I have UConn 6.8. I think Newton leads the way for UConn with Spencer and Caravan and the whole gang. And I think that St. John's will be on the edge of their seats on Selection Sunday. And the second of 2 semifinal games, 3 seed Marquette, 2 seed Creighton. With Kolek, I would have had Creighton by 0.3, but without Kolek, I have Creighton 2.3. And in the Big 3 on Creighton sees the day. And then championship Saturday on Fox, 2 seed Creighton, 1 seed UConn from the Garden. Should be rocking. You have so much talent on both ends. You have Streerman, Alexander, Kalkbrenner, Ashworth, Newton, Spencer, Caravan, Klingon, Castle. So many great players on both sides. And I just think UConn's the better team. I trust Dan Hurley a little bit more than I trust Greg McDermott. I have UConn 4.5. I think that'd be a really good game. I think it'll come down to free throws at the end. I trust UConn a little more. So to win the 2024 Big East tournament, I have, of course, arguably the best team in the sport, the UConn Huskies. So most outstanding player of the tournament, I'm going to pick Tristan Newton of UConn. Other tournament opportunities. So Creighton is going to be an at-large. Marquette's going to be an at-large. UConn will be a 1 seed. Unless it loses to, like, Butler or Xavier in the quarterfinal, then it might drop to a 2. But they should be safe on the 1 line. If they win this tournament, I think that they're going to be the number 2 overall seed. I think Houston, but if Houston loses and they win, I think they're the next bet for 1 overall. I just think the Big 12 is the best league, and Houston's best team in that league, and I think Houston is deserving of the number 1 overall seed. I think UConn's right there. I put UConn 2 overall and then Purdue 3 overall. And then the 4 overall seed right now, I'd put North Carolina because Tennessee's been slumping. So I'd put Carolina in the 4th 1 spot. And Carolina, sneaky number 1 overall seed possibility if UConn loses in the quarters and Houston loses to somebody weird and some other crap happens, but not to talk about the ACC, but yeah, UConn's gone for the number 1 overall seed here. I think they're going to be the number 2 overall seed. I think Creighton's going to be a 2 seed. I think Marquette's going to get docked of a seed line because of the Kolek injury a little bit. But if they get him back, maybe they'll still be a 2. But if I had to guess Marquette's seed line, I think it's a 3. Okay. I think St. John's gets in. I think Seton Hall St. John's is going to be for a spot. The winner of that game has to be in my opinion. And then the loser is either in Dayton or is hosting the NIT. My gut, or not even, but with Seton Hall and Johnny's, if one of them's in the NIT, they would have to play at Karasenka or in Seton Hall's regular gym, not at the Prudential or at MSG. So that's a little subplot if one of those teams is in the NIT. I mean, they both could be in the big dance. I think the loser of this game could be in Dayton if some of these other teams get picked off, like South Florida, Richmond, some of the Mountain West schools. So that's something to monitor as well. So at gunpoint, I think St. John's is in. And how about the possibility of them playing New Mexico? Father versus son. But didn't Louisville and Minnesota hook up in the tournament one year when Rick was at Louisville and Rich was at Minnesota? Or did that happen in the regular season? Because I know they coached against each other in the past. Like, the NCAA likes to rig it like that sometimes and put teams, because of the storylines. But yeah, that's something to watch for St. John's. I think they're in Dayton. But if they beat UConn in the semis, I think they dodge Dayton. And then same goes for Seton Hall. If they win, they're in Dayton. But if they beat UConn, then they dodge Dayton. But I'm going to say Seton Hall in the NIT, St. John's in the dance. Villanova, to me, is last year's North Carolina. They're going to need to make the Big East title game like how Carolina had to make, in my opinion, the ACC title game last year to be an at-large. And then Carolina ended up not making it, and they were like among one of the first teams out. I feel like that's going to happen with Villanova. Villanova has to beat Marquette, assuming they get by DePaul. If they lose to DePaul, people are going to be calling for Kyle Neptune's job. and we'll get into hot seat and stuff in a second, but I think Villanova needs to make the semis to be considered for an at-large. Same for Providence and maybe even Butler. So I think St. John's makes it, Nova, Providence, Seton Hall, Butler in the NIT, and maybe Xavier in the CBI. We'll see, because sometimes they give like a team with a losing record in one of the big conferences an invite and they accept or whatever. I could see that being Xavier. All right, so odds to win this tournament. I'm gonna have to pull them up. On the computer, only because I want to see Seton Hall's number. UConn's a minus 135 favorite, and they probably deserve to have a minus next to their name. Creighton's plus 425, Marquette's 5-1, St. John's is 8. That's because the tournament's at the Garden. Villanova's 16, Seton Hall's 35, Providence is 60, Butler and Xavier are 110, Georgetown, DePaul are 1,000. Yikes. I think the value's on Seton Hall, but what sucks is that I would have to drive to Pennsylvania to bet it. But I think there's value on Seton Hall. St. John's, I think, is a little overvalued because they're home. Just a little bit, not really. Villanova has some value because of their experience and because they're Villanova. But I think the best bet in terms of value on the board is Seton Hall at 35-1. All right, coaches, real quick. All right, we're not going as long as I thought I was. Maybe because Big East is smaller than the ACC and some of these other conferences. I think some of these coaches are happy with where they are, and I don't see anybody making a jump. So the real question is who's on the hottest seat. And to me, the easy answer is Kyle Neptune of Villanova, who's in year 2. And, but the noise is louder than Hubert Davis because Hubert Davis made the Final Four in his first season. Made the national title game. Made the national title game as an 8 seed in his first year. That's why there's some talk about Hubert Davis, but not a lot. And then Hubert Davis, obviously put himself back on the map for the right reasons with Carolina winning the ACC this year. But this Villanova team reminds me of last year's Carolina team, except Neptune hasn't done shit. And he obviously didn't make the tournament last year. They were 500. And this year they're 17-14 in non-con, and then now they're probably in the NIT. And who the hell knows? Maybe they'll be on the road and people are going to bet against them and such. But yeah, to me, Kyle Neptune is on the hottest seat. And if they lose, I'm not saying they're going to lose to DePaul, but if they lost to DePaul, they're going to be calling for his head like crazy people. All right, so there you have it for the Big East. There really wasn't much coach stuff because that league has seen a lot of turnover over the last several years. And I don't see any of the coaches moving to other schools. And so that's it for the Big East. Next up will be the Big Ten.